Hey everybody. Okay, last week I had that prediction for the jobs report. It was based on the daily Treasury statement. And the reason I made that prediction where I thought that the payroll number would come in at the high end of expectations was because if you looked at the data on the Treasury statement, if you looked at employment tax deposits that went to the federal government in March, they were huge, $212 billion, which was more than $30 billion over January, maybe close to $40 billion over February, $30 billion over January, and $30 billion over March of 2014. Now, normally, if the government is taking in more tax deposits, it either means that more people are working or salaries and wages are going up. So we saw in the payroll report, it was a really weak report, only 126,000 new payroll jobs created. That was against an expectation of 240,000. So it was way below the expectation and way below what I thought. However, just to be fair, if you saw average hourly earnings, that was up at a rate that was about twice the average increase that we've seen for the last 3 years. So, somewhat indicated by the daily Treasury statement. Anyway, got it wrong. Okay, it happens. I mean, as much as we try to be 100% correct in this game, this is a game of probabilities. It's what I teach in my Forex class. We cannot predict the future. Nobody can. I mean, we try to make a guess based on our analysis, based on the things that we look at, but nobody is going to get it right every single time. It's just impossible. We cannot predict the future, and it's not necessary to predict the future to be successful as an investor or a trader. You're going to get some of them wrong. You're just going to get some of them wrong sometimes. That's what happens. I mean, admit it. I've been talking recently about humility. People should have a little humility. When you get it wrong, just say, hey, I got it wrong. I admit it. I got it wrong. That was a wrong call. Okay, but not having that humility, not admitting when you're wrong, continuing to say the same thing when it's clear you've been wrong for a long time. I mean, if you don't have humility within yourself, you cannot respect others. That is essentially a disrespect of other people. That's what it is. So I don't want to be that kind of a person. I don't think I am that kind of a person. I admit it. I take a lot of abuse. Read some of the comments on my videos. I have about 140 videos. Read some of the comments, okay? If you think I don't take abuse, I take it. All right? As long as we're talking about comments, let's go over some of the comments that were left from my last video, which was about Paul Tudor Jones, the wealthy billionaire hedge fund guy who said, hey, we got a problem with wealth and income inequality, to which really he had no solution at all. Remember, he said, oh my God, historically, this has only been solved in 3 ways. War, horrible, way to solve it. Revolution, equally as bad, okay? Total upheaval of society, or, God forbid, taxes on people like him. And I just thought it was very interesting and bizarre, really, how he lumped in taxes, meaning, he was kind of like alluding to his personal fear of taxes on his billions as a means of addressing income inequality. And it's also kind of ironic, because if you think about it, tax policy, among other policies, government policy has been at the root of the income inequality gap. When you institute spending cuts, which are fiscally the same thing as tax increases, and at the same time you cut taxes for the very wealthy, you allow lobbyists to work for large corporations and very wealthy individuals to gain economic rent-seeking behavior, rent-seeking activity. this naturally is going to result in income and wealth inequality. That's what we have. Anyway, let's get to some of these comments. The first one is by Help End the Fed, who says, tax increases will lead to revolution because the middle and lower class will be paying them, not the rich. The rich always get exempted. The U.S. is not capitalistic. It is fascist, Marxist. Government is controlling everything and working with business. So, help end the Fed. Help end the Fed. I totally agree with you, except on one point. There's not going to be revolution, because how can there be revolution when we have the most massive law enforcement police state the world has ever seen? We have the most powerful military. It'll crush down, I said that in the Jones video that I did, it'll just crush down and subvert any kind of a popular uprising. Forget it. The next comment we have is from Jackpot John, who says, I don't believe raising taxes is the answer. We should increase federal spending to achieve full employment, raise the minimum wage to $15 per hour, and pass legislation to empower workers to form unions. Of course, this is never going to happen because the rich want the poor to stay poor. Jackpot John, I agree with you too, 100%. I mean, those are great suggestions. Raise the minimum wage, not even to $15, raise it to like 25. I mean, there's been studies that show that if the minimum wage had kept pace with productivity over the last 40 years, it'd be up around 25 bucks. Yeah, and I don't think, I think you're right, that the wealthy and the powerful, they don't want the poor to make more money because they're having a great time of it right now. And basically they see it, like Jones sees it, as the government coming and confiscating some of their wealth. So I totally agree with you on that, on your points. Next. Okay, we'll go to Up on Infinity. And he says, central banking is the driver of inequality. Its talking points are parroted ad infinitum by the MMT crowd. Well, I agree that central banks have contributed to the inequality. Overall, though, as I just said, it's really been a whole range of government policies, you know, focus on union bashing, destroying unions, ending collective bargaining, spending cuts, which are fiscally, like I said, tax increases. But clearly, the Fed has been on the side of Wall Street and the financial sector. It has given tens of trillions in low-interest loans, while the average homeowner has been left to just, you know, make do on his own. A lot of them have been foreclosed, have lost their homes. So yeah, there's no question that the central banks have been part of the problem. The interest rate cuts to zero have inflated assets like stocks. It's definitely exacerbated. As far as MMT kind of parroting, I'm not sure what you mean by that. I think MMT, to be fair, they've taken, at the very least, they've been kind of neutral or ambivalent on the central banks. I think they've just explained their role and how they function. And then you get, I know that's, you know, the position that I've had. I've been critical also of these policies, how they pump up assets and remove income, and they're not stimulative as they're propagandized to be. And then you have guys like Randy Ray, who have been extremely critical of the central banks and the tens of trillions that they've handed out. So, you know, I think if you're kind of suggesting that, you know, we're on the side, or the MMT people are on the side of the central banks, and yeah, keep doing what you're doing, central. I don't think that's the case. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for your comments. Continue to leave the comments, and I will respond to them. And remember, humility. It's a very endearing quality and a very human quality. Take care. Bye-bye.